Hi there, my crafty friends. It is Ashley Pfeiffer, the maker behind Stamped AF. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada, and I wanted to share two more projects using the Silhouette Scenes product. I have already shared two this week, so it does make four. So my video on Monday, earlier this week, was making this card. This was the original version. It was much lighter, so it all depends how ethereal you want it to look. You can go light with your ink blending or a little bit darker. The other one was from my Facebook Live, which was last night. I'm recording this on Thursday, July 25th. So that was my card last night. Actually, this was the sample. This was the one that we did last night, so there was a lot more white in the sky, so it looked kind of, it could be stormy, it could be that the sun had set and left some clouds behind, but yeah, that one is quite dark. So I wanted one where it was a little bit lighter. This is just the DSP in that suite. So my ordering special this week is if you order the Silhouette Scenes bundle, you will get the See A Silhouette DSP for free. And yes, I know there's a typo there. I fixed it on my downloadable file, but not on here. So if you purchase the bundle, you will get a full pack of the See A Silhouette DSP for free, my friends. Free. And if you want it cut up to 4x6, there's no additional charge. If you do want it sent to you 12x12, there will be an extra charge because it's going to cost me quite a bit more to send it. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Orders have to be in by end of day on Sunday, July 28th. So I've got two Whisper White mats out here. We are going to be making two cards, and I'm not going to show you what we're making until we have our backgrounds done. So for the first one, I want, you know what, we're going to switch it up. We are going to use soft sea foam for one, and then for the other, we need Pear Pizzazz, which is one of my old style ink pads still, so we'll use that one. And Coastal Cabana. And perhaps a little bit of Pool Party. Okay, so let's get going. We'll do the soft seafoam one first. So it doesn't really matter which one of these. They're both dry. So let's just start with this one. I had previously cut out, this is a punch of a full adhesive Post-it note. So the whole thing is sticky. I ran out, so I can't show you more, but now, if you so desire, on this one, we're gonna take our Stampin' Spritzer, and this is just water in here. I'm not even sure why I'm shaking it. You're going to put a little bit in your hand, work it up to your fingers, and then just flick it down. And that gives you some nice fine drops and then some bigger ones. And the harder you flick, the bigger your drops. So I just want kind of a little bit of lifting here and there. Okay, no right or wrong to this. And then once it's been sitting for about a minute, you can use a paper towel and lift some of it up. Let's get this, whoops. It's stuck there. I've got little bits of adhesive, I guess. Okay, so that background is ready. before I move on to my next step, I think we're gonna come back to this one. We're gonna pull off our sun. It's not perfect there, but that's okay. I think we're gonna take the bulk off of that side and maybe the top. Because right now it's a pretty funny shape. Okay, so using our little swinging girl, she's my favorite, I think, we are going to stamp her swinging. And we are going to do that in, what are we gonna do? I'm thinking Pear Pizzazz and then Old Olive maybe for our darker spots. I don't know if you can tell what I'm doing yet, but it's super fun. Okay, so ink her up good. And just stamp her down. Such a happy-go-lucky girl. Done with her. Now we need, from the Abstract Impressions stamp set, we need these. I'm calling them grasses. So with the darker one, we are going to stamp the larger grass. So we'll grab our Old Olive. And we're not going to stamp all that high because I don't want the grass to come all the way up to her. So we're going to kind of stamp just off of the edge. And if you do what I just did, try not to get that on your card so that you have to start all over again. Now I am rotating it just a little bit so that I don't end up with that same pattern every single time. Okay, so there's our dark grass. Here is our light, and oh, not Old Olive. Let's close that up right now so that I don't do that again. Using Pear Pizzazz, and let's see if we need to stamp it off. I don't have any scraps of paper. No scraps. Let's just use this. So I think we're gonna stamp it off because that is a little dark in comparison. And we want this grass to look like it's far behind. Well, maybe not far, but it's in the distance. I know this is either really big grass or it's some kind of big foliage. Okay, so that's done. Now we need to get out our die cuts from this bundle. We are going to use the dandelion for that card and the tree for this one. Can you see what I'm doing here? So we might try and have the tree going kind of that way so that I can cover up that weirdness on the sun, or we may just cut it all off on that side. Can almost cover it. I'm overthinking it. So I need some, I think let's do Pear Pizzazz for the tree. And we need Whisper White for the dandelion. I also need some scraps of Whisper White because we are going to die cut the words adventure and inspire. Now when you're cutting out your tree, you may want to use a little bit of washi tape because it does need to go back and forth a couple of times just to make sure that all of the pieces come out, sorry. I actually have two of them. One has the putty and the spatula, and the other has the paper piercer and the dye brush. I didn't want to have to take my pick. I want to be able to use them all. And you can just push down like the white space, so to speak, part that you want out, and pull up on the positive. So push down on the negative, pull up on the positive. And it's not as fragile as you would think. I mean, you don't want to go ripping pieces out, but that stayed together pretty well. So you can have it where the tree is kind of at an angle. You can have it where it's kind of coming out of the sky like that, which is how I think we are going to adhere it. And I'm not going to adhere it yet. I'm going to cut out my dandelion, which might fit on here. And I might be able to fit, well, I can fit those two anyways. This one needs to be on a wider piece because of those great big swirls. And again, I would put this through at least back and forth once. Oh, it moved on me, so we can't go back and forth. Now with your words, I would highly recommend that you bring your Big Shot plate with you because you don't want to lose the dots on those eyes. And then for your dandelion, just use your dye brush end. So we're ready for that one. So just set your word aside and using the putty end of your take your pick tool, just put those eyes with the word so you don't lose them. Chances are when you're making this, you're not going to be making two cards at the same time, so you won't have to worry quite as much as I am. Okay, and then the word adventure. Isn't this a beautiful scripty font? I do find with adventure, you don't want to just yank it out. You do need to push or not slam it down, but it needs some pressure for that T swirl to get out of there. T swirl, if that's a thing, I don't know. Be sure to put all your dies back. I still haven't put this on a magnetic sheet. I'm not sure why. Okay, so this one we've got no eyes to dot. Again, take your pick tool and you can pull this whole thing up and it should leave all of your spaces on there. You can just sweep that into your garbage can. So we're done die cutting. Now I'm gonna show you a little trick. Now, if you watch my Facebook Live, you've already seen this trick. But what I did was, because, again, I'm working on laminated grid paper, you could use your silicone craft sheet or even like a piece of saran wrap or something like that. Using a sponge dauber that's dedicated for glue, this is the perfect way to adhere this down. so that you don't have little leaves popping up everywhere. Now, if you want little leaves popping up, that's totally your choice. But if you want it all adhered down, you cannot, well, maybe you can find a better way to adhere it, but this is my adherence of choice. There I go again, making up words, hey? Now, I did not get this little leaf. That'll do, and then do the same thing for your word. But hold on to it so you don't rip it. And then also try and get it straight. Sorry, apparently it's puppy playtime out there. There is not enough glue on here. So let's pull it back off, squeeze out some more. Well, if you couldn't hear them before, I'm sure you can now. Okay, pop this guy down. If you want, you could use like a T ruler or something like that, but I'm not all that picky about where it goes. Now you can also use your H block and just press it down. So we're going to use the same technique for the dandelion. And you can bend this stem a little bit. Okay, now we are also going to do that for Inspire, but first, what I did was I wanted to have a vellum shadow, and unfortunately Stampin' Up! Has not yet come out with shadow dies. So what I did was I took it to my brother Scan and Cut, and I did it in cherry cobbler because I wanted it to be quite obvious. So I glued my little dots, which are now not on here, but I tried every way that I could to get this to kind of give me an outline, but it would give me an outline in the inside too. So what I finally did was I just loosely traced around the outside, and then I scanned that and put a piece of vellum on there. So we are going to adhere our word Inspire to the vellum. Could you imagine using any other adhesive to do this? It'd be awful. I mean, maybe the Sizzix multi-purpose adhesive sheets, but Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry them anymore, so I can't really use them. Now with this, you're just going to eyeball where those letters need to go. Not too high, not too low, because remember on those eyes, we still want our dots. So what I did for that, and I've got a little bit of adhesive on here. I will use an adhesive eraser at some point. But what I'm gonna do is just put a couple of little dots of Tombow. And then again, with that putty end, the Take Your Pick tool is gonna be your best friend for these projects. And if you have two, or your paper piercing tool, you want one to hold it and one to let it go. There we go. Just gonna clean up my Tombow mess here because it is a pretty sticky. And you can just wipe a little bit of that glue off. It stays kind of soft, which is surprising. I would have thought it would be like as hard as a rock the next time I went to use it. Another tip, because I've used so much adhesive on here, especially in the last few days, I'm going to take an alcohol wipe and just go over that, and it will get rid of those little stubborn pieces of adhesive. You might need to use your nail. But there we go, no trace of glue left. Okay, we are going to use, where is it? The Make a Difference alphabet stamp. We aren't going to use the scripty ones because this is already scripty. We're going to use these sans serif font ones. And using, glad I saw that, my Y got stuck to the other sheet. Using just a little A block and smoky slate, gray granite, whatever color you fancy. Not that. Let's use smoky slate. We're just going to make a custom sentiment. So put that where you want it. If you don't have this alphabet set, it is a great way to build your own sentiments, and you can use this sans serif font or the scripty font. I will tell you, it's finicky to use the scripty one because you've got to place them just so to line them up, but my crafty friends, it is so worth it. Okay, now I just realized I cleaned up all that glue and I want to put a little bit on here. So let's just do one tiny bit right on our dauber. Kind of sponge that on my wipe. That should be enough to hold it. And again, you can put that block down. Okay, so now I need to take off a little bit of, well, I need to take off anything that's hanging off, and we want to trim it down so that it's 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so there we go with that. That little bit is sticking up there, so I'm just going to use, I have some Tombow in a very fine tip container, so I'm just going to put a tiny little dot. I said tiny. Right there. And then on this one, we also need to trim it down. We're gonna take most of it off of this side though, so that we don't get too close to the sentiment. There we go. Oh, I missed a step. It's too late though because I've already done what I need to do. Now, unfortunately, that little weird shape is going to have to stay. I could try and figure out some way to get it off there, but it's really probably going to be more trouble than it's worth. One final step, other than mounting them on the card bases, which I don't think you need to see. I'm sure you've seen that before. I'm going to use my Frost White shimmer paint and just give this a spritz. Makes it nice and shiny. There, nice and shiny. Okay, so there are my cards. I'll see if I can figure out some little way to fix that. But here are my originals. So that one is in So Saffron, Daffodil Delight, and Crushed Curry. And I actually did this one After a design that I was trying didn't quite pan out, I just did kind of like 2x3 squares, and it was around here somewhere. It is vanished now. Anyways, I had like little 2x3 squares, but they were not fitting, so I ended up doing the whole card design. So that is in 2 different tones. So remember that when you're doing a monochromatic look, it doesn't have to be black and grays. It can be any color, and just pick a light, medium, and dark. Now my adventure isn't entirely straight, but it's an adventure. Okay, and then I said I missed a step on this one. I actually embossed it with the Settle embossing folder, which may be really hard to, oh, there you can see it. So I missed that step, and of course this is all attached now, so I can't do that, but it does give a different look. Might be hard to see. And this one, I mean, obviously my grass ended up going a whole lot higher up than I planned on. But that is the gist of it. So I hope you enjoyed this twofer using the Silhouette Scene bundle. And like I said, if you order this with me by end of day Sunday, July 28th, 2019, you will get a package of the See A Silhouette DSP for free. And again, if you want it to remain 12 by 12, there will be an additional charge to cover the postage. Otherwise, it will be cut down to 4 by 6, and you can go to my website, stampedaf.ca, and download the printables. It will be spelled right, and just put it in a wood mount case. And there you go. It's part of like Love It, Chop It. This way you can use it all up because it's already cut. It's not so difficult. Just found my little sample. It was hiding. So that is what I had done. I did 3 different little people and 3 different colors. So this was using the grass from High Tide, but when it came to this size, it was going to be way too small. So that is all, my crafty friends. I just want to remind you that there's just a few more days left to get bonus day coupons. So for every $60 you spend, you get a $6 coupon to redeem in August. I'm not going to tell you how many I have. And also the extra promotion is still going strong. So if you join in July or August, you choose $205 in product, and it's only $135 plus 1 tax, no shipping. Shipping is free. And then you get a $14 coupon to redeem in August if you join in July, or September if you join in August. So that is all. That was a lot of talking. I thank you so much for watching, and I hope you will subscribe if you haven't already to catch at least 2 new videos each and every week. We'll see you soon, my crafty friends. Bye.